Hey friends, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging, and today we're going to do a full face of Charlotte Tilbury on mature skin, and I'm going to be using for the very first time these BK Beauty brushes. Now, everything I'm showing you today I did purchase myself. As much as I'm grateful for PR, I don't accept PR very often. I feel strongly that I don't want to recommend products that I wouldn't spend my own money on. I have had these BK Beauty brushes on my wish list for a very long time, and around my birthday I pulled the trigger and bought them. So I'm super excited to try them for the first time and share my feelings on camera as far as how they perform. Now, I've been building my Charlotte Tilbury collection over several years, and I have quite a big collection. Today, I'm going to share with you my favorites from Charlotte Tilbury and things I probably wouldn't buy again. Now, keep in mind, everybody has a personal preference, and I completely respect that. Use on your skin what makes you feel your most beautiful and confident. For reference, I am 52 years old and have dry skin. So I have prepped my skin with skincare and applied sunscreen. Today I use the Color Science. This is the Flex Tinted Sunscreen. It is absolutely beautiful. Everything I've used on my skin I will link in the description box below. If you haven't tried the Color Science Flex Sunscreen, it is beautiful for any skin, but I absolutely love it on mature skin, especially if you're at the point where you feel like foundation is just too much for your skin. The Flex Sunscreen gives you the sun protection we need and also a tiny bit of hydrating tint. I'm going to start today's makeup look with the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. This one's in the shade 6 Cool. Now, I usually get neutral as far as the undertone in foundations, but when I was testing these, I found that the cool actually blended into my skin a little bit better. Every brand has slightly different variations of their undertones, and so this one I just picked up, so I'm just going to have to prime it a little bit. And this one is the 6 Cool. So I'm going to try this BK Beauty brush and just pick up a little bit of the foundation on here. And I've heard so many good things about this brush for foundation. I'm super excited to try it. Now, I'm a big fan of finger application for aging skin, just to really melt that foundation into the skin, and also a slightly dampened sponge. But I will say my first impression is that this brush is really soft. Now, of the Charlotte Tilbury foundations, I feel like this Beautiful Skin Foundation is the most appropriate for mature skin. As far as how it looks, it's got a light texture. It gives coverage without looking cakey or heavy. Now, just a little tip, you can always adjust the coverage of any foundation, not just Charlotte Tilbury, by adding in some of your moisturizer. So if you have a foundation and you feel like it just looks heavy on your skin, mix a pea size of the foundation with a pea size of your favorite moisturizer or thinner lotion, or even with a non-tinted sunscreen, and apply it that way. It just looks more sheer, and if you're having issues with foundation not looking particularly flattering on your skin, try it that way. So I have a couple of different ways that I like to contour the face using Charlotte Tilbury products. So the first way is using the contour wand. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a few dots here to contour in the areas that I want to contour. I like to contour around my hairline because I have a big forehead. And I'm just going to do this on one side of the face. The jawline just above the jawbone to give a more structured jawline, especially if you have jowling or any kind of sagging in the jawline. A little bit under the chin here for a double chin. And before that dries, I'm going to take the same foundation brush and that I just used for the foundation, and I'm just going to pat that in. This product is so beautiful in that it blends in really nicely. I like the undertone of this. Let me see if I can see the color on this one. This one is fair medium. Again, I'll link everything down below. Some of these I might not be able to read product colors just because I don't have reading glasses close by, but I will link them down below. I do really like this brush. I like the softness and the taper. It's a little bit denser down here and it tapers to softer on the end. It is really a unique brush. So this one gets a thumbs up for me from BK Beauty. This is the 109. For a cream bronzer on the side, I'm going to go ahead and use This is the Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer in the color medium. Just going to give a little bit of that just above the contour. Now you could use this instead of doing the contour step. I like a contour step just because I feel like it offers a little less of the bronzy look and a little bit more of that shadowy look. Of course, you can simplify these steps. This is just my personal routine. I'm going to use the blush wand. This is the Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wand in the color Pink Pop. And I'm just going to put a few dots here. I'm going to use the BK Beauty blush brush. This is the 113. I'm just going to blend that in. These are really soft. So far, I'm impressed. So here's a side with contouring and here's a side without. Now we're going to do just a little different contouring on the right side. Now I love the wand, but recently I've been just using a darker concealer. And the reason I've been enjoying this lately is it seems to stay on the skin well. It also has a little bit more pigmentation, meaning it's a bit more opaque. And I kind of like what that does for the contour. You can do dots or you can just do a line. I go back and forth between them. Sometimes I'll just kind of take and make my little marks like this, or I'll make dots, or I'll just kind of make my contour. Lately I've been liking kind of this V shape contour here and then coming down under my cheek. And the same thing here, we'll do a little jaw contour, and you can come up in here if you'd like. Some people like a contour down the neck, and that kind of slims out the neck. I'll show you that here in just a second. We're going to take that foundation brush and we're just going to go ahead and blend that in. We want to keep it up high. We don't want to drag it down. Bring it back into the hairline. Now it is a bit of a different texture than the wand contour. It's a more opaque texture, so go easy with it if you try this. And then just work up to your preference. It takes a couple times to get it just how you like it, but it does stay on beautifully. And you can do that hack with any concealer from any line. Just take a darker concealer and use it as a contour. I prefer shades that are a little neutral to cool for contouring, but that is a personal preference. I like it to look more like a natural shadow on the skin. Now bringing that contour down the neck, you can draw focus to the central part of the neck, making the neck not wide. So you can narrow the neck is basically what I'm saying. You can also do that with the chin if you have a protruding chin. I always had such a protruding chin until I had braces. I had a terrible crossbite. And I had braces as a teenager, but it didn't really fix the crossbite. So then I got them in my 40s, like I was, I don't know, 45, 46, something like that. I had them on for several years, and we did a lot of palate expansion on the upper palate. And that really made my chin not protrude so much. A lot of people have asked if I've had surgery because they see some of my older pictures. And nope, no surgery, just braces and a lot of upper palate expansion. And we took that crossbite that jutted my chin out because it was kind of like that, and we evened it out. So now my bite is more normal and my chin doesn't stick out so far. I'm going to use that same matte blush. So far we're using only cream products. I haven't gotten into any powdered products yet, but I will. Now I have the Beautiful Skin Radiant Cream Concealer. This one is in the color 7 medium. This one is a pretty good match to my skin tone. So if you like to brighten up your under eyes and the areas that you want a little brightening, definitely get something tiny bit lighter than your skin tone. I do have a lighter shade. It's almost too light to use by itself. I bought this one online. It's always so hard. It's the 4.5 Fair, but sometimes I'll just add a little bit in with the other. Certainly that's a little extra step only because I bought this by mistake. Now I'm going to try this BK Beauty 110 brush. I like the taper on this. Now I know there is a small kind of tapered brush like this, but I tend to really like this shape for under the eyes. So I'm going to use that, and certainly you can use a finger or a sponge, but I really want to give these brushes a fair shot. And so far I'm really enjoying them. They make the makeup blend in so nicely without streaks. Now I'm going to wipe off this brush just to get that cream product off there and go into the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Flawless Finish. I like this one for under the eyes. It just brightens up the under eyes a little bit. Anywhere on the face that you want a little brightening, this is a great product to use. It has a little bit of blurring capability, just like some softening effect. But one of my favorites for a long time, which is a cult favorite, is the Airbrush Flawless Finish. And I like this one in a skin tone. This one's in 2 medium for the rest of my face. I'm going to use this giant brush here. This is the 111. And just kind of set in. Now these are soft enough that you can swipe. Some brushes are not soft enough to do that without kind of messing up your makeup. But I have a tendency, until I know how soft a brush is, to just tap, and not a lot on aging skin. I feel like less is more. I will say these brushes are nice. They're a bit on the pricey side, but I do think they are super well constructed. You definitely feel the quality. They do stand apart from your average, more affordable brush line, makeup brush line. Something I have by Charlotte Tilbury that I don't personally use a ton, but if I had darker under eyes I would, is this corrector. This is in the color 2 medium. It's for under eyes or anywhere you need to brighten up or correct. It has a slightly peachy undertone, and it is very creamy. So it's not heavy or cakey looking at all. I don't have dark under eyes, so it's not one that I've had to reach for very often, but I have tried it a few times, and the texture of it's beautiful. So for those of you that have dark circles under the eyes or just that purpley pigmentation, that would be a really good one to try. So I don't have a Charlotte Tilbury brow pencil or gel, so I'm going to do my brows off camera. I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills products, and I will be right back. All right, let's do the eyes with the Charlotte Tilbury, the Super Nudes palette. This is a beautiful palette. I'm excited to do an eye look with this. I'm going to start out with the 212 brush, and I'm going to go into this nice warm nude color and just create a transition here above that natural crease. Now I have deep set hooded eyes. I like how matte colors look on hooded eyes and aging eyes. A little pop of shimmer is nice, but it can accentuate texture on the eyes. I typically don't use an eyeshadow primer. Every once in a while it does make the eye look stay longer and look a little bit more intense. So if I'm doing an evening look or I'm really spending a lot of time on a look, I'll definitely reach for some eyeshadow primer. Day to day, I tend not to do that step. I'm going to move up to that little bit darker color with the same brush. This is the 212 brush by BK Beauty. And just move down just a little bit and kind of start deepening up that upper crease. And if your crease is really low or you can't see the crease because it's under the hooded portion of your eye, create the look of a crease above the natural crease. I always say imagine where you would want your crease to be if you didn't have hooded eyes, and create that kind of half circle where you want it to be. So I feel like eye brushes work better once they're kind of broke in a little bit. I feel like the complexion brushes I liked right away, but for some reason I'm really particular about my eye brushes. These are really nice, they're soft, I like the construction, but I feel like it's a little bit stiff yet. But a little use and a washing will kind of soften up those fibers. I'm going to go to the little bit smaller, this is the 211 brush. I'm going to go into this third color, this darker color, and I'm just going to deepen up this outer V area, being very specific about where I'm placing that to create some contour and depth. And I'm just going to do little circles, not pressing hard. And lifting up towards the tail of the brow or towards the temple. Now sometimes when you use a smaller brush, it's really nice to go back to that first brush you use that's larger and use that just to diffuse the edges. And that just gives the eye a little bit of lift and a little bit more contour. So I always try to add some helpful tips into my makeup videos, but let me know if you feel like it's too much rambling. I'm hoping the tips are helpful and just a nice reminder of how we can lift our aging eyes or just improve the shape of the eyes if we are dealing with some aspects of our eye shape that we want to adjust a little bit. Go back to that larger brush. Now I'm going to take this BK brush, this is the 209, into this bone color or very creamy colored eyeshadow, just to give a little brightening into that inner corner. Now sometimes when this is done with shimmer, and I love shimmers, don't get me wrong, because I have plenty of palettes that have shimmers, but sometimes when this is done with a shimmer, it can pick up that crepiness on aging skin. So a matte can be brightening, but not quite as accentuating on our imperfections. I'm going to bring some of that into this part of the eye here. I'm also going to dust just a little bit of this underneath the high part of my brow. And then I'm going to take the pencil brush. This is the BK Beauty 210. I love a good pencil brush. I'm going to do just the same thing I did on the top. I'm going to start with the light and just work towards the dark. And the darker color I'm going to keep more on the outside, and the lighter colors I'm going to bring farther in. I'm going to take an angled brush and go into this dark color here. This is a black, and just make a very subtle top eyeliner. I've been finding this way to define the eyes to be so flattering on mature skin, as opposed to a liquid liner or a pencil liner. I still use both, but I do really like using a shadow for liner. I'm going to take a tiny bit of that and just right into the corner of the lash line. It seems like we lose a little lash definition as we age, and this definitely gives us a little definition just right in that lash line. It's an optional step, but if you want to really kind of emphasize the lower lash line, that really helps. So I've tried a couple different mascaras by Charlotte Tilbury. The Full Fat Lashes, not a favorite of mine. I don't like the wand on it. It's just too fluffy. I have false lashes on my top lashes and very tiny bottom lashes. So that's not one I would ever repurchase. The Pillow Talk push-up lashes, however, this wand is wonderful. It's more of that plasticky silicone type wand. Really great for lash separation and lift. Whether you have long lashes or short lashes, this is a great formula and a great wand. I like to get the eyeshadow off of my lash extensions by going over it with a little bit of mascara. If it gets a little bit too much, you can always take a spoolie and get the excess coating of mascara off. And then I don't have a magnifying mirror right here, so let's see if I can get the bottom lashes. I just love the design of this brush. At the end, it has the tinier nubs, and it makes it getting those teeny puny little bottom lashes, if you're like me, so much easier. So before I move on to lips, I do want to use this palette that I haven't used much. I think it's just beautiful. This is the Pillow Talk Beautifying Face Palette. You have two different blushes and two different highlights. Now, although I use that cream blush wand, and this is extra, a little bit extra if you want your makeup to really last, I do like to top it with a powder because it seems like it lasts so much nicer that way. So I'm going to use the 113 brush. And I'm going to go into the Pillow Talk. It's a little bit more of a subdued pink, but this is gorgeous. I usually like a bigger blush brush, to be honest. So I'm going to use the powder brush. This is the 111. Yeah, that's more my preference. And I think that's really such a personal preference on the size of the brush that you like. And I'm going to use the 112. This is an angled brush, and I'm going to use that just to put a little bit of highlight on my cheeks. So I'm going to go into this kind of golden champagne-y highlight. And just ever so slightly give a little bit of sheen. I do like the highlight wands as well. I think they're gorgeous, but I really want to use this palette more. I think where Charlotte Tilbury really shines is her lip formulas. Now, so many of these products are fantastic, and something I forgot to mention under makeup or on top is the Hollywood Flawless filter. It's actually gorgeous underneath a foundation, especially if you want a really light makeup look and you get a little radiance that shows through. But I like to put a little bit on the back of my hand and then take the soft brush that's not dense and just use that as a highlighter as well. You can use either or. Actually, if I had to choose one or the other, I would say lean towards the liquid highlighter, the Hollywood Flawless filter, because you can use that under your makeup or as a highlight, and it's very natural looking. I also have this, which is a highlighter and a very light contour. So if you're fair skinned, consider this if they still have it available. It's called the Film Star Bronze and Glow. And a favorite that you can see I've hit pan on is the Powder Airbrush Bronzer. So if you're like me and you like to set in your cream products with a powder, this is definitely one. You get so much product, it's such a huge pan. So I have a pretty big collection of the Charlotte Tilbury lip pencils and lip products. I think this is where Charlotte Tilbury really shines. So today I'm going to use the lip cheat, and this is in the color Hot Gossip. So this is the swatch. It's a beautiful, universally flattering color. It's a pinky nude. And I do like to fill in my whole lip, so as the makeup wears off or you're eating, you have a few layers to wear off. The aging lip definitely loses some definition over years, and so this helps to give back a little definition on the aging lip. One of the things I like about the lip cheat that I appreciate is that it stays on really well, but it's not drying on the lips. I think that can be really hard to come by in a really good quality lip pencil. Now this is the newest lip product that I purchased by Charlotte Tilbury. The packaging is absolutely stunning. There's the swatch. It is gorgeous. I mean, look at this packaging. It is absolutely beautiful. And the color on this one, I took a long time picking this color, you guys. It's called Nude Romance. There are so many beautiful colors to choose from. Now, if you want a little extra gloss, the glosses are phenomenal. It's the Collagen Lip Bath, I believe they're called. You could certainly pop that right on top for a little extra sheen and hydration. So a few things I don't really care for by Charlotte Tilbury. Aside from this mascara, which I would never purchase again, this is the Full Fat Lashes, and somebody may love that lash brush, it's just not for me, is this airbrush brush. I haven't really used it much. It's nice and soft, but I don't know, I just don't reach for it. Maybe it would be a good, like, just buffing in your makeup at the very end, making sure everything's blended. I just don't reach for it for regular application. I don't know. I don't dislike it. It's just not something I reach for. A couple of products by Charlotte Tilbury I think are beautiful. I don't use them often, but I'm going to put some on now because it's the holidays. Are these stunning hypnotic pop shots. This one here is more of a neutral tone. This one has kind of that copper tone. I think I'm going to use more of this neutral tone. This one is in the color Rose Gold. It doesn't look rose gold here. Let me show you a swatch. It looks more just gold than rose gold. So I'm going to pop a little bit of this. They are beautiful, I will say. It just elevates the look ever so slightly without being too much. One of the things I was disappointed with by Charlotte Tilbury, I'm not even sure if it's still in her collection, is this product. I don't even know what it's called because it doesn't say on the box, but it has a highlighter wand, an easy lip and cheek wand, and an eye wand. I think it's really clever. I just don't reach for these very much. I wouldn't buy it again. They're not bad products. I mean, in fact, I'll just show you the cheek wand. They are nice products, and they have a very beautiful creamy formula. So if you like convenience, these are nice. I just don't, for whatever reason, I don't really reach for them. The cheek wand, I mean, again, I think they're convenient. I do like the colors. Anything that comes in kind of this type of package, I almost would have liked this better. See, there's no top for this. It just goes into this container, which is really nice and beautifully thought out. Just isn't something I like. I think I would like these better if there was a top on them. I think the formula of that blush is nice. I'm not even sure if this is something that's still available, but this is something that I was really excited about when I first bought it, but then just never really reached for it that much. Aside from the nudes eyeshadow palette, I do have a couple of the quads, and I think these are fantastic in whatever shades you love. This is a great daytime quad. Easy to use colors, and I just think the combination of colors are well thought out. I have always really loved the Cheek to Chic. If you don't like to have these types of palettes that I use today, I've gone through several of these Cheek to Chic. This one is in the color Love Glow. These are also beautiful. Not overly pigmented. They blend in well. They have just the tiniest sheen to them to give a little glow without being too much. So I think if you're going to start somewhere with Charlotte Tilbury, I really think the lip products are a great place to start if you are a lipstick wearer. If you're more concerned about skin products, I really do love the Hollywood Flawless Finish. This is great by itself or underneath makeup or as a subtle highlighter. I really enjoy the Beautiful Skin foundation. It is light, but it gives a nice coverage without being heavy looking on the skin. The concealers do a beautiful job without sinking into fine lines and wrinkles and have pretty good staying power. I've always enjoyed the Charlotte Tilbury concealers. A little bit goes a long way. I do think that Charlotte Tilbury makes some absolutely beautiful products. Are there products out there that are less expensive that perform just as well? In a lot of cases, yes, you can find dupes that will perform as well. I do love the experience and the final result using Charlotte Tilbury products, especially some of my favorites. This lip combo is one that I will wear constantly, regardless of season. One thing I didn't mention is I have used and loved the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I'm not huge on setting sprays. I tend to use setting sprays that have SPF, but this one smells amazing and it really does give the skin a beautiful finished look. A nice finishing spray also helps to set down any of the residual powder that's sitting on the face and meld it into the skin. It gives just a more hydrated, fresh finish. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to add your Charlotte Tilbury favorites and fails, please comment down below. Others would love to hear from you to help make their own buying decisions. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you spending a piece of your day with me. I will see you in my next video. Be good to yourselves and to others. See you next time.